On a dark night, sitting around a campfire, or at a scary Halloween party, ghost stories have been passed on through the generations. So today, I'll be looking at 5 of the scariest classic American ghost stories that I've come across. So sit back, turn out the lights and enjoy. We start with the Sloth Furnaces in Birmingham, Alabama. 5 years after the Civil War, there was a great need for tons of pig iron to fix America's crumbling infrastructure. Seeing this need for pig iron, Colonel James Withers Sloth started construction on the Sloth Furnaces. After 1 year, the gates opened, welcoming hundreds of workers. Although working on the furnaces was a skilled job, it came at great risk. Workers started to lose their lives, falling to their deaths and being incinerated. Conditions only become worse in the early 1900s when a new foreman, James Wormwood, started work. To improve production, he took very dangerous risks, resulting in nearly 50 deaths and many injuries. In retaliation, the employees threw him into the furnace. Today, you can tour the furnaces, and it is said to be insanely haunted. In our second story, we learn about the Bell Witch of Adams, Tennessee. In the early 1800s, a man named John Bell moved into the area now named Adams, Tennessee. After settling in, strange things started to happen. The Bell family began to hear odd noises, like dogs barking when they had no pets, rattling chains, and rats chewing, and strange women's voices. This continued for a while, and after run-ins with this woman, she became known as the Bell Witch. It is thought that the spirit was that of a former neighbour of the Bell family, a lady called Cat Bates. The two had a dispute over land, and just before she died, she cursed the Bell family and swore vengeance. Bell later died of poisoning. This encounter has spawned movies such as The Blair Witch Project and An American Haunting. Our next encounter brings us to Eureka Springs, Arkansas. These are the ghosts of the Crescent Hotel. The hotel opened in 1886 and came under the ownership of Norman Baker in 1937. He fancied himself as a doctor, but is now known as a medical fraud. He turned the hotel into a cancer hospital, claiming to have the cure. People believed the hype and came to the new cancer hospital hoping for a cure, but many just found death waiting. All the patients who died were buried right under the hotel basement, which served as a morgue. The police found out what was happening, and in the 1940s he was arrested. The Crescent is said to be infested with spirits of the dead patients, looking for answers. Also, during construction, a worker was killed, and he is said to haunt room 218. If you fancy a taste of this incredible location, you can still stay in the hotel today. Guests are said to see apparitions and hear scary noises. And you may catch some of this yourself if you're lucky, so bring your camera. Our next story comes from Surrency, Georgia, in what is just named the Ghost House. Now, if there was ever a house cursed by poltergeist activity, it's this one. The family living in the house began experiencing terrifying happenings in the 1880s. They reported witnessing objects soaring across rooms, hearing laughter and sobbing. Red eyes were seen staring from across the room. Whilst eating dinner, food would be thrown from the plates. Kitchen utensils were bent into different shapes. The local townspeople would tell of cries of help from spirits, hoping to be helped. Finally, the family had had enough and decided to leave their home. As they were leaving, a fire iron allegedly floated up and began hitting one of the sons on the head. Nobody after that was brave enough to live in the house again, and the curse was completed in 1925 when the house went up in flames. For our next tale of ghostly encounters, we turn to Weatherford, Oklahoma. As everybody knows, divorce can be a messy affair, but not all of these end up like this story. In the early 1900s, a lady called Katie DeWitt James left at her home with her baby after filing for divorce from her husband. She was supposed to move into her cousin's home, but her family had never heard from her again. It turned out that she had moved in with a local prostitute named Franny Norton. Katie was last seen leaving the house with Franny in a carriage. Later, Franny returned with the child covered in blood, and Katie was nowhere to be seen. Later, Katie's body was discovered with her head cut off. The rumour was that the ex-husband had done the deed in league with the prostitute. Franny denied involvement in the murder, but on the day the police came to question Franny, she poisoned herself. The spirit of Katie haunts the town. She is seen floating with blue lights, wailing, searching for a baby. Also, the sound of carriage wheels is also heard. So, if you think your divorce has gone badly, just be thankful that you still have your head attached to your body. America has a wealth of spooky ghost stories, from witches to headless corpses, and these have just been a few tales of woe. I hope you enjoy watching. Please don't forget, unless you like and subscribe, I can't continue to grow this channel. So please like and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. And I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks very much.